It's time for the 2025 mid-season review of the Essendon Bombers. We're going to take a look at their season so far, a little player review, and then what we can expect to see from them in the rest of season 2025. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome on in, everybody, to the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another mid-season review coming up for you today. It's the Essendon Bombers 2025 mid-season review. As each team has got to the bye this year, we've done a little mid-season review, just a 20-25 minute video on each club, running through their season so far, a player review for each club, and a look towards the rest of season 2025 and what we can expect to see from them in that time. So once you're done with this one, make sure you go check out the rest. All other 17 clubs are already on the channel, as this is the final bye and the final team to look at. So go check them out after you're done with this one. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you leave. Everyone helps quite a lot to the channel, so make sure you do that. Let your friends know. Comment down below how the Bombers are going this year, and don't forget to like the video as well. Enough of that though. Let's jump into the Bombers 2025 season, and we'll get up the first graphic, and this is how their season has gone so far. It's been an interesting one for the Bombers. There is no question about that. Opening round, they were meant to start, but that got postponed due to the weather, and I haven't made that one up yet. That one's coming up after the end of round 24, which I'm pretty confident, based on what we've seen so far this year, the Bombers will be well and truly ready for their season to finish at that point. Round 1, they have Hawthorn at the MCG, and they got done by 26 points, but that's a pretty solid result against a team that's considered one of the fancies for the premiership this year. So pretty solid start from the Bombers, in all honesty. Round 2 did not go quite so well. At the MCG again, and the Crows got them by 61 points in a massively high-scoring affair. It was 161 to 100. It was a bad day for the Bombers, no doubt, but once again, Adelaide have shown out to be one of the best teams in the competition so far this year, certainly in the top 8, well and truly. So, not the worst start, but it was a very tough run to start. Round 3, they had Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium, and they finally got on the board. Finally, it's only round 3, but a good win, 12-point winners, and a good positive victory for them. It wasn't the most pretty game you ever watch. Round 4, they had their bye. They came out of the bye with back-to-back wins, granted against low-ranked teams again. Melbourne by 39 points in Gather Round at Adelaide Oval. And then West Coast over in the West, another one that was not pretty. At times looked like they were going to lose to the bottom of the ladder, West Coast, but they got the 2-point win in the end. Round 7 was Anzac Day. They went up against Collingwood, lost by 41 points in a wet game. They played pretty well for most of it. It was just the key moments where Collingwood got on top of them and ended up beating them in that one. Round 8 was North Melbourne. Not a pretty win, but it was a win by 3 points. Round 9 against Sydney at Marvel Stadium. They won by 8 points. And at this point, their season is looking incredibly weird, because they're sitting 5-3, and I don't think anyone genuinely thought that they were playing that good of football. By this stage, they're copping a lot of injuries as well, so I just feel like they were the most... Oh, we'll get into that in a minute, but they certainly are probably the most overperforming team, just based on the fact that they've got injuries. They're not at peak performance so far this year, and I mean, I think the end of the season is going to be pretty rough for them, but they've got quite a few wins this season that maybe you wouldn't have thought. Yeah, granted, 3 of them were by under 10, 4 by under 2 kicks, so they did make their chances count. There's no doubt about it. Round 10 was a rough one, though. Western Bulldogs at Marvel Stadium. They went down by 91 points. That was their first absolutely dismal effort. Round 11, they had Richmond. They won it by 23 points. Not pretty, but got the job done like they needed to. Round 12 was Brisbane at the Gabba. Went down by 18 points. Was a really solid performance. They were 5 goals down in that game early. Got it back to, I think they took the lead by a point, or they were definitely even in the last quarter or so. but in the end, Brisbane were just too strong. Similar story the next week against Carlton. They were 5 goals down early, fought their way back through the rest of the game, but couldn't quite bridge the gap, lost by 8 points. Round 14 was Geelong, and this one was a shocker. They lost by 95 points. They just weren't even in that. Round 15, Freo over at Optus Stadium, lost by 41 points. It doesn't look pretty on paper, 41-point losers, but I thought that it was a reasonable effort. The side gave a lot of effort for what they've got out on the park at the moment. It was a pretty good effort over in the West. That means they've played 14 games. Obviously, they have missed that one extra game that they will make up later in the year. They're 6 and 8, which probably looks better than it should. Percentage-wise, 77.5. It's not great, their percentage. They're 13th on the ladder. 0-7 against the top 8 teams, so they're just not beating the teams above them, which you fully expect. They are 6-1 against bottom 10 teams, though. That one loss came against Carlton in round 13, and that was only by 8 points. So they're beating the teams that they should beat. They're just not quite competing with the top teams. It's a funny old season that they've had. They've certainly done pretty solid, I think, in terms of win-loss and what they've had on the park. So I think it's an interesting season that they've certainly made use of so far. I think they're still going to end up probably pretty low on the ladder by the end of the season, and that will give them solid draft pick for next year. I think they've also got Melbourne's draft pick for next year as well, so they could potentially get a couple good draft picks. Hopefully next season they can stay a bit healthier, and who knows, maybe we'll see this team bounce up the ladder quicker than maybe some expect. A look at some of the key stats for the Bombers so far this year. Offensively, scoring-wise, they're 16th in the competition, so they're pretty low. There's only 2 teams below them. Defensively, they're 14th, so slightly better defensively, but when you count how many injuries they have, that certainly knocks them back a little bit. Age-wise, so far this year, they are 15th oldest, so 4th youngest team in the competition. Disposals, they actually have the most amount of disposals per game in the competition. Suggests that their game style currently probably is overusing the ball. I think that's certainly been the case over the last few weeks. They've handballed it a lot. It's not ideal, I don't think. I don't think it's the perfect game plan, but you've got to play with what you've got, I guess. Kick to handball ratio, they're 18th, so they do handball the most in the whole competition compared to their kicks. 17th in inside 50s, so they're just struggling to get the ball forward at the moment. But enough negatives. There is one good positive that I think we should mention here, and that's their defensive work from stoppage. They don't concede much scoring from stoppage. They're one of the, I won't say the best teams, but comparatively to the rest of their game, they are probably just about as good as anybody at not conceding scores from stoppage and from centre bounce. So that is definitely a massive positive that this Bombers team has, and something that maybe they can use to develop their game style over the next couple years. Moving into the player review now. We start with the defence as we always do. If you're new here, we'll do a little explanation on all the numbers here. Rating, we do a rating for every single game, for every single player. We put them in position that they played that game, mostly played that game, and then that gives a rating based on their stats and how they played. Then from that we can get a class rating. Top 10% of each position is elite. 10 to 25% is top class. 25 to 40 is above average. 40 to 60% is average. And that just leaves everyone below 60% as below average. Anyone that hasn't played 5 games this season is listed as unranked. If you play less than 50% of a game, that game does not count. And that's basically it. That's the nuts and bolts of it, at least. So we'll start with their key defenders. They've had quite a few go through this position. Obviously, injuries. They've had quite a few go through pretty much every position, to be honest. But key defence, Jordan Ridley's played 6 games. I think he's absolutely shown some good numbers this season. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a ranking yet, due to the fact that he's actually only played less than that in terms of more than 50% of game times. But his numbers look okay, look really good comparative to other key defenders in the competition. Zach Reed, he's played 10 games. He's been really good, above average, ranked 16th as a key defender. Jaden Laverde played just the 6 games. He rates below average at 44. Lewis Hayes played just the 1 game. Looked okay in that. Lachlan Blackiston's just come in over the last couple of weeks. He's looked solid. He's not up to the level of others, and I don't think anybody can expect him to be. And Ben Mackay has played the 10 games, and I feel like he's been really quite average this year. Rates below average, 50th best key defender in the competition so far this year. You look at his numbers compared to last year, he's not playing anywhere near the level that he was last year. I thought he was pretty solid last year across the year in a team that was obviously under the pump quite a bit defensively, but he held strong last year. This year he has not been anywhere near that player. General defenders, Mason Redmond's played 11 games, rates top class, 22nd best general defender in the competition. Has played a couple variety of positions, but he's been pretty solid. Finally, here, their second best general defender is Archie Roberts so far this year. Obviously not his first season, but he is a Rising Star nominee and a potential winner of the Rising Star. He currently leads my leaderboard on Rising Stars. I don't think he's favourite. I think he's about third favourite at the moment. I think he's a genuine chance. He's been really good this year. He's been really consistent. He uses the ball pretty well. He gets plenty of it. So I think he should be certainly in the conversation. Andrew McGrath, 14 games, rates average 44. You probably want him to be slightly higher if you're him or the Essendon Football Club, just due to the fact that he's an experienced player that is playing a role that should be conducive to getting quite a few touches. Jackson Pryor, 14 games. He's rated below average, but I think he's been really quite good. Angus Clark's played the 5 games, came onto the scene with an absolute burst as a wingman in his first one. He's gone back recently. His numbers are solid for a first-year player. Zach Johnson, 4 games, unranked at the moment, and Sard has also been pretty good at times. He's obviously unranked at the moment and probably will almost stay that way. He's came on as the sub a couple times. He looks pretty good overall, though, in all honesty. Moving into the forward line. First up, the probably surprise packet when you're looking at this team is the fact that Peter Wright actually rates as elite, and that is because he does play ruck time as well. Gets his rating up there a little bit. I need to work on that little part of the system, I think. I think he's the only one, though, that really gets much benefit from it in the whole competition, so maybe it's fine. He rates as the 6th best. He does a fair bit of ruck work, obviously. We'll get to their ruckman in a minute, but their ruck situation has been not great this season. He's been good, though, Peter Wright. He certainly provides a target when he's at his best. Archer May's only played the 2 games. Looked pretty solid in those 2. I think mid-season draft pick is looking like someone that could have a good future at the Bombers. Cole Langford, he's been injured for a fair chunk of this season, played just the 6 games. Not having a fantastic year when he was out there, certainly not to the level that he had in the first half of last season. Nate Caddy, I mean, there's a lot talked about this guy. He's got a lot of potential going forward. He's obviously an absolute packet, surprise packet sort of player. He's got good hands. I think we'll see a lot from him in the future. I feel like he's just got a long way to go before he's got any sort of consistency around his game. Thomas Edwards only managed the 2 games before he got injured, but he showed some really good signs in those 2 games. General forwards, Nick Martin's played a variety of positions, as you kind of expect him to, from wingman, general forward, like half-forward flanker, half-back flanker, even inside mid at times. He rates as elite, the number 1 general forward, helped by the fact that he does play around the ground at times, and he does follow the ball. He gets plenty of the football. but maybe this is his best role. Personally, I think it probably is, being that high half-forward flanker that can get plenty of ball, be that link player, because his ball use can be very good. Him delivering the ball into the 50 is usually a pretty good option for the Bombers. So I think this is the best role for him. Archie Perkins rates average, 48th best general forward. The fact that he's their second best general forward so far this year is a major concern, because he hasn't been that great, in my opinion, this year. And that is something that they need to look at, I think. Jade Gresham, he's another one, 50th best. He hasn't been fantastic. Ben Hobbs, 13 games, below average, 58th. Jai Menzies played 6 games, currently unranked. Matt Guelphy, 5 games. His rating hasn't been fantastic so far this year, though, in those games that he's played. Kako, this is his first season. There's a lot of hype around this kid, and rightly so. He is someone that potentially has a lot of potential in this game, but so far we haven't seen a great deal of that from him, but I think we will in the future see some exciting moments from him. He will kick probably your 25, 30 plus goals a season going forward, but it's always tough being a small forward at the start of your career. Like, not many small forwards come out and play great football, especially when you're at a team that's not getting the opportunities. Like right now, Essendon are like second worst at getting the ball inside 50. So they're just not creating the opportunities for these small forward types. So it is a tough role for him at the moment, and I don't think you can judge him too much on what he does this season. Harrison Jones has played 7 games, played a variety of positions, rates below average as a general forward, and the final player in that general forward line is Archer Day-Wicks, who's played 5 games. Pretty low ranking so far. Moving into the midfield, inside mids first, and this is, undoubtedly their best player. Zach Merritt, 14 games, top class rating, 19th best inside mid, was top 10 for a fair chunk of the first half of the season. He's played a variety of roles recently, which has probably lowered his ranking quite a bit. He's an absolute gun, there's no doubt about it. His best is absolutely insanely good. Probably doesn't get enough help overall. He has got quite a bit of support this year from Jai Caldwell, who I think has been very good, 31st best inside midfielder. His numbers look pretty solid throughout the year. He looks like he uses the ball pretty well most of the time. I think he does work well with Zach Merritt as well. It's that drop-off after those two, though. Sam Durham, his best has been good this year. His consistency maybe not quite there with some of the other players in that inside midfield category. Will Setterfield has played just the 1 game. He was pretty solid in that game. Hang on, he's played more than 1 game. I think that's a typo. I don't know what I've done there, but yeah. Anyway, he's been good without being outstanding. Darcy Parish, 3 games. I think he's shown some good signs since he's come in over the recent weeks. He's a ball winner. That might be what they need in there. We'll see how that develops over the next 18 months. Dylan Shield, he's played a couple roles. Rates below average as an inside mid. I think his best is past him. Unfortunately for him, maybe he's someone that can re-find his form. Senior players have done it many times over the recent years. Maybe he's another one that can find his best still. Elijah Sartis, 4 games. His VFL form is really good. His AFL form, he's yet to show it, I think, at AFL level. I think he's certainly capable of it. We just haven't seen it yet. Outside midfielders, Xavier Dersma, 14 matches. Pretty much played that. Well, he has played every game this season. 13th best outside mid in the comp. Pretty good. Not fantastic, but pretty solid. Luamon Lau has only played the 3 games. We haven't seen a heap of him yet. I reserve judgment until we see a bit more of him, but he's shown glimpses of being a AFL footballer so far. And the ruckman, this has been an absolute schmozzle for them, the amount of injuries they've copped here. Both their first and second ruckman out for the season. Sam Draper was their number 1 pick as the ruckman from the start of the season. He rated average and 11th as a ruckman from those 5 games. Then he was out for the season. Nick Bryan came in. He managed 4 games, put up pretty solid numbers, not that far off Sam Draper's numbers before he was out for the season, which has meant that Todd Goldstein has come into the team. Once again, putting up solid numbers. Ranked 14th as a ruckman, not that far behind Nick Bryan and Sam Draper. So the fact that they have the 3 ruckmen that are all well and truly capable is really massive positive for them and has allowed them to continue on, even though the fact that they've lost their first and second pick ruckmans. But yeah, it's not a great situation for them. And then obviously Viggio Vicentini got his debut last week, and he was pretty solid. I mean, he's not up to the level of others yet. You got to completely understand that. Young ruckmen usually take a while to develop, and he's going to be no different. But giving him a little taste here probably is a beneficial thing for the Bombers and for him in future years. Little positional breakdown for the Bombers. Little explanation here. Well, not so much an explanation, but a little peek behind the scenes. Teams will average about 2.5 elite players, slightly more top class players, around 3. Same for above average, and then more and more as you go down, obviously. So they're slightly below in elite with just the 2 current players. 2 in top class, so slightly below the average again. 3 above average, 8 in the average category. 15 out of 22 starting players roughly in average or better. That's not too bad. It's pretty much close to the AFL average. It's probably just that top talent that they're lacking, and also the fact that they haven't had any consistency with certain positions like ruck. Key forwards have been in and out as well. It's just a few issues along the lines of those sort of areas. I think the top class players is probably the biggest issue. They have a couple really good players. They don't have the elite, like the multiple elite players that other teams do. I think Nick Martin's genuinely an elite player. I think Zach Merritt is genuinely an elite player. I think they've got a couple top class players after that, but then it kind of drops off a fair chunk. So I think that's their biggest issue when looking at this team. You look at it, key defenders, they've tried a lot this year. Only 1 rates above average or better. General defenders, they're okay without being outstanding. Key forwards, they've got just the 1 that's shown much. Obviously, Nate Caddy will develop and show a lot more in his future. General forwards, yeah, they've got that elite player in Nick Martin. They haven't got much else after him. Inside mids, they're pretty solid for. Outside mids, not so much. And ruckman, I think they're pretty well set up if they can stay healthy. Moving on to what the Bombers have for the remainder of season 2025. Obviously, round 16 is this weekend. They have the bye. So out of that, round 17, they host Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium. Not expected to win that. However, Gold Coast at Marvel is always a winnable game. Gold Coast did lose to Richmond at Marvel Stadium earlier this year. So keep an eye on that. I don't think they will win, but you just never know. Round 18, they have the Tigers at the MCG. That is definitely a winnable game for the Bombers. Round 19 is GWS at Marvel Stadium. They did beat the Giants at Marvel last year, but this will be a tougher challenge. The Bombers certainly not playing as well as they did back then. Bulldogs at Marvel, that will be a rough one. They got absolutely smacked by the Bulldogs earlier this season, so you'd think that's going to be a tough one again. Then they head up to the SCG and play Sydney. That will be tough. Then back down to the Cattery to play the Cats. Another really tough one. St Kilda at Marvel in round 23, and then they've got 2 games in round 24. First up, Carlton at the MCG. The way Carlton are playing at the moment, that might be a winnable game. And then Gold Coast up on the Gold Coast. That will be a tough one to finish. That's how their season shapes up. We use the ELO rating system to give us the expected win percentage for each game. It's not a perfect system, but it just gives us an indication. That all added up together gives Essendon Bombers an expected total wins for the season of just over 9.35 wins, which would have them 13th on the ladder, which is pretty much exactly where they are right now. No real surprises there. It's potentially going to be a really tough run home. If they can get that Richmond one, obviously, and then try and get either the St Kilda or Carlton ones, just to give themselves a little bit of confidence towards the end of the season, might be a good thing. Because otherwise, if they drop that Richmond one, it could well be that they lose every game after the bye, which would not be ideal at all, I don't think. That's a wrap on the Bombers. Jump in the comments below. Let me know where you see the Bombers finishing season 2025. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you leave. Hit the noti bell so you don't miss any videos that we drop. We drop plenty. 2 podcasts every week, plus plenty of other videos. Plenty of social media content. All Aussie rules everywhere. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments what you think of the Bombers. I'll catch you in the next episode. Next episode of the podcast will be out in a few days, or tomorrow even. So check that out. I thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Catch us on the next one.